All right, let's jump right in with a pretty challenging idea, something that might even flip what you've been taught on its head. When it comes to the spiritual world, many of us have learned to be afraid when we were actually created to command.
So let's just sit with this for a second. Think about it. If you've been around church for any length of time, you've probably felt it. That kind of low-grade fear, right? A sense that when it comes to spiritual stuff, you're always on the defense. But what if that was never the point? What if that's not how it's supposed to be at all?
And there it is. This is the big, maybe even uncomfortable, truth we're digging into today. The instruction from the very beginning was never be afraid. The instruction was to command. So this whole conversation isn't really about fear. It's about authority.
Okay, so let's break this down. How in the world did we get here? How did we get to a place where fear is the default instead of command? Well, somewhere down the line, the script got flipped. And honestly, we were taught a lie that completely disarmed us. Just look at the difference here. On the left, that's the story a lot of us heard. Oh, be careful, the enemy is so strong. Spiritual warfare is dangerous. But then you look at the other side, at the actual instruction. It's totally different. It's direct. It's active. Cast them out. Command them. Don't tolerate them. It's like we were given a powerful operating system, but we've been running on a faulty program.
So yeah, it was never about begging. It wasn't about trying to analyze the situation to death. And it definitely wasn't about just putting up with it. It was simple. It was powerful. Command.
Okay, so if fear isn't the right response, then what is? What's our actual place in all of this? This next part is, well, it's everything. Because it's all about understanding the position God already gave you.
And we have to be super clear on this, because once you get this, the whole game changes. This is not a battle between two equal opponents. Not even close. There's a spiritual chain of command, a hierarchy. And as you can see, the believer is positioned in authority. And demonic forces, they're positioned under that authority. It's a done deal, a settled legal fact in the spiritual realm. And here's where it gets really practical. In your day-to-day life. When that thought of fear just pops into your head out of nowhere, or that temptation to lust, or that heavy, oppressive feeling tries to settle on you, you have to recognize it for what it is. You're not dealing with some legitimate power. No, you are dealing with a trespasser, something that is illegally trying to speak into your life. I really want you to let that sink in for a second. Seriously, you are not dealing with something stronger than you. You are not outgunned. You are not the underdog here. The simple, unshakable truth is, you have the higher rank.
Now, let's talk about the real battlefield. Because for most of us, 99% of the time, it's right between our ears. And we're about to face a pretty uncomfortable truth here. The problem often isn't the attack itself, it's how we respond to it.
This really just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? A negative thought arrives. What do? We invite it in for tea. We entertain it, we analyze it, we turn it over and over in our minds until we start to think it's our thoughts. But the instruction was so much simpler and way more effective. Rebuke it. Shut it down. Resist. And this is kind of the tough pill to swallow. The core issue isn't that the enemy's winning all these battles. It's that believers are simply tolerating things they were given full authority to rebuke and evict. We've been passively allowing things we were meant to actively command. So, the big question is, how do I actually do this? How do you use this authority? Well, it's probably way simpler than you think, and it has almost nothing to do with how you're feeling at the moment. That's pretty much it. Get out, in the name of Jesus. See? It's not some dramatic hour-long prayer. It's a simple, direct command. It's not about being loud or emotional. It's authoritative. Just think of a police officer directing traffic. They're usually calm, they're firm, and they expect to be obeyed. Not because of who they are, but because of the uniform they wear. And this right here is probably the most important thing to grasp. Your authority is a function of your position, not your emotion or your volume. It doesn't come from trying to work up some special feeling of faith or getting really angry or shouting. It comes from your position as a child of God. You speak from that place of authority, and that's what carries the weight.
Okay, but let's be real. We have to talk about the elephant in the room. What about the times you try this and it feels like nothing happens? Well, the source material is really clear. This isn't some magic trick. Authority requires a flow, a connection. You can't live your life totally disconnected from God and then just expect to tap into His power whenever you feel like it. A strong connection, a strong alignment allows His power to flow through you. But a weak connection, well, that leads to weak enforcement. It all comes back to the source.
All right, let's pull all these threads together. This is all about a massive mindset shift, about completely changing how you see yourself and your place in the spiritual landscape.
This is the new reality. This is what you need to remember. Just burn this into your mind. You are not under these forces. You're not even competing with them as equals. You simply, factually outrank them. Period. Full stop. It's legally and spiritually a settled issue.
And this really brings it all home. These forces don't have free reign. The only way they can function in your life is if you don't enforce the authority that God has already given you. They operate in the territory that we give up. The only power they have is the power you fail to challenge.
And that brings us right back around. The issue was never about the enemy's strength. It was never about their power. The only question that has ever mattered is this one right here. Do you understand your authority? Because the moment you truly do, absolutely everything changes.